In the quiet hum of a jet engine lies the pulse of modern civilization, millions of lives carried across skies every single day. But as the world races toward the future, a haunting truth follows us above the clouds. The very skies that connect us are slowly choking from our progress. My name is Jhon, and this is Plane Crashed, where we uncover not just the stories of disaster, but the evolution born from it. Tonight, we explore how aviation's next great revolution isn't about speed or luxury, it's about survival. Welcome to the era of sustainable aviation fuel and the fight to save our skies. Sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF, represents not just a technological shift, but a moral turning point in the history of flight. For over a century, aviation has relied on fossil-based jet fuel, a substance that has powered our dreams of flight and our desire to explore the world, but has also silently contributed to one of the planet's most pressing crises: climate change. As the 21st century unfolds, the aviation industry faces an undeniable truth. To keep flying into the future, it must reinvent the very fuel that makes flight possible. Across runways, research labs, and boardrooms, the push for sustainable aviation fuel has become one of the most ambitious endeavors in modern industry. SAF is not a single type of fuel, but rather a category of fuels derived from renewable or waste-based sources like used cooking oil, plant-based feedstocks, municipal waste, and even captured carbon. When burned, SAF can reduce life cycle carbon emissions by up to 80% compared to conventional jet fuel. It performs almost identically to fossil-based fuel, meaning it can be used in existing aircraft engines without modification, a factor that has made it an attractive short-term and long-term solution for decarbonizing aviation. Yet despite its potential, scaling SAF has proven far more challenging than anyone initially expected. The first problem is cost. Producing SAF today can be 3 to 5 times more expensive than traditional jet fuel, largely because refining processes are still developing, feedstocks are limited, and production facilities are few. But that's where the story of innovation begins. Major airlines like Emirates, Lufthansa, United, and Delta have invested millions into SAF startups, while aircraft manufacturers like Boeing and Airbus have pledged to make all their commercial planes capable of running entirely on SAF blends by 2030. Governments, too, are stepping in, recognizing that without regulatory support, SAF won't reach the scale required to make a true difference. The European Union has already mandated that all flights departing EU airports must use a minimum SAF blend beginning in 2025, gradually increasing to 70% by 2050. The United States, through its SAF Grand Challenge, has committed to producing 3 billion gallons of SAF annually by 2030, supported by tax incentives and partnerships with energy companies. In Asia, countries like Japan, Singapore, and India are exploring localized SAF ecosystems, converting agricultural residue and industrial waste into usable jet fuel. Each region's approach may differ, but the goal remains the same: to break aviation's dependency on fossil fuels. But this transition is not just about numbers or policies. It's a story of vision and endurance. Imagine engineers in labs working late into the night, refining bioconversion processes that can turn simple waste oil into the lifeblood of flight. Picture vast facilities where machines transform garbage into liquid fuel that can lift a 200-ton aircraft thousands of miles across the globe. Picture farmers supplying crops like camelina and jatropha to refineries instead of burning them as waste. Every link in the chain represents a small revolution, one that connects the soil, the industry, and the skies. Yet, as with all revolutions, there is resistance. Critics argue that SAF, while promising, cannot yet meet the global demand for aviation fuel. Commercial aviation consumes roughly 100 billion gallons of jet fuel every year, while total SAF production in 2025 accounts for less than 1% of that. Scaling up production requires billions in investment, vast supply chains, and regulatory harmonization across continents. Feedstock availability is another critical bottleneck. There simply isn't enough waste oil or biomass to produce SAF for every flight without competing with food production or causing new environmental issues. The balance between innovation and sustainability becomes a delicate one, forcing researchers and policymakers to tread carefully. Yet even amid these challenges, momentum is accelerating. Dozens of pilot projects have proven that large-scale SAF use is feasible. In 2021, United Airlines operated the world's first passenger flight using 100% SAF in one of its engines. In 2023, Virgin Atlantic flew a Boeing 787 from London to New York, powered entirely by sustainable fuel. These symbolic milestones aren't just demonstrations. They are signals to the world that a cleaner future for flight is not just an idea, but a tangible reality. Each successful flight powered by SAF brings renewed confidence, inspiring investors, regulators, and the public to believe in aviation's potential to evolve responsibly. Airlines have started signing long-term contracts with SAF producers to secure future supply, a move that reduces uncertainty for investors and encourages new entrants into the field. The ripple effect is clear. As demand grows, production costs begin to fall, and the cycle of innovation tightens. But SAF's success also depends on more than economics. It requires a cultural shift within aviation, a new identity rooted not just in speed and connectivity, but in responsibility. The dream of flight has always symbolized freedom, yet that freedom comes at a cost to the planet. By adopting SAF, the industry is trying to rewrite its own legacy, transforming from one of pollution to one of preservation. Imagine a world where airports smell not of kerosene, but of clean innovation, where every takeoff contributes not to warming the skies, but to sustaining them. That is the dream driving this transformation. Technological innovation continues to expand the possibilities. Researchers are exploring power-to-liquid (PTL) processes that use renewable electricity, hydrogen, and captured carbon dioxide to create synthetic jet fuels. Others are studying algae-based fuels that can grow rapidly and capture CO2 as they mature, turning a greenhouse gas into a resource. The diversity of pathways to SAF production may ultimately be its greatest strength, allowing regions to develop solutions suited to their own resources and capabilities. Even oil giants like Shell, BP, and TotalEnergies are entering the SAF space, rebranding themselves as energy transition leaders and investing in biorefineries capable of producing millions of gallons annually. These moves are not purely altruistic. They're a response to mounting regulatory pressure and shifting public sentiment. Travelers today are more aware than ever of their carbon footprints. Airlines are under increasing scrutiny from environmental groups, and sustainability is becoming not just a moral imperative, but a competitive advantage. Consumers now look for airlines that take climate responsibility seriously. In this climate, SAF becomes both a technical solution and a marketing statement, a visible way to show progress. Governments are also turning to mandates and subsidies to push the industry forward. The European Commission's Fit for 55 package requires airports to provide SAF infrastructure, while the US Inflation Reduction Act offers production tax credits for every gallon of SAF produced. Such measures reduce the risk for investors and accelerate commercialization. But these programs also highlight the complexities of global coordination. One region's definition of SAF may differ from another's, creating logistical and legal hurdles for international carriers. Harmonizing standards will be crucial to ensuring that SAF doesn't become fragmented by geography. The International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, has begun to play a unifying role, setting frameworks for global adoption under its carbon offsetting and reduction scheme for international aviation, CORSIA. Still, progress is uneven. Some nations sprint ahead while others struggle to even define their strategy. Developing countries, in particular, face barriers related to technology access, infrastructure and funding. But paradoxically, these nations also possess untapped potential in the form of biomass and agricultural residues, materials that can become the foundation for regional SAF industries. International partnerships are beginning to form, linking energy producers in developing regions with major global airlines seeking sustainable fuel sources. These collaborations reflect a broader realization. The decarbonization of aviation cannot be achieved by one country, one company, or one technology alone. It is a collective effort, a global flight toward a common horizon. For pilots, engineers, and passengers alike, the rise of SAF is more than an environmental milestone. It's a restoration of faith in what human innovation can achieve. The aviation industry has always thrived on challenge, from the first powered flight to supersonic travel, from crossing oceans to breaking sound barriers. Now the new frontier is invisible but just as vital: the carbon molecules we emit with every takeoff. Confronting that challenge requires courage and commitment. It demands reimagining the relationship between progress and preservation. But perhaps the most inspiring part of this journey is that the same spirit that once lifted us into the skies is now driving us to protect them. SAF doesn't erase aviation's past. It builds upon it, blending history with hope, technology with conscience. Every drop of sustainable fuel carries within it not only energy, but intention. The intention to ensure that future generations can still look up and see contrails in the sky, not as symbols of harm, but as reminders of humanity's resolve to evolve. The story of sustainable aviation fuel is still being written, but one thing is certain: it is no longer a distant vision or an experimental footnote. It is the foundation of aviation's next chapter. A future where innovation flies hand in hand with responsibility, and where the skies, once darkened by pollution, shine once again with purpose. The human side of aviation's green transformation is perhaps the most fascinating and complex part of this entire story. While scientists and engineers work tirelessly in labs to refine sustainable aviation fuel, and governments draft policies to scale its use, there's another battle being fought silently but powerfully within the minds and choices of passengers. Airlines have realized that achieving true sustainability isn't just about changing what powers the aircraft. It's about changing how people think, behave, and connect with the idea of responsible flight. This is where technology, particularly artificial intelligence and large language models, steps onto the stage. Not as cold machines of logic, but as storytellers, persuaders, and companions on humanity's journey toward cleaner skies. In recent years, airlines have begun using advanced AI systems to personalize every step of the travel experience, from booking to boarding. But now, these systems are evolving into instruments of awareness. Imagine this: as a traveler books a ticket online, the system quietly calculates the emissions for that journey, then gently presents an option, not as a guilt trip, but as a friendly nudge to offset the carbon impact. The AI explains, in natural human language, that for just a few dollars, the emissions from their flight could be balanced through certified reforestation projects or renewable energy initiatives. It doesn't shout or demand. It suggests, educates, and encourages. And surprisingly, it works. Studies have shown that people are far more likely to make sustainable choices when guided by personalized, empathetic messages rather than abstract warnings. Airlines like KLM, Lufthansa, and British Airways are already experimenting with these intelligent systems, embedding carbon awareness directly into their apps and websites. Passengers can now see their environmental impact displayed in real time, alongside their seat choices and baggage selections. It transforms sustainability from a distant concept into something immediate, something personal. These systems learn from behavior patterns, predicting which passengers might be most responsive to environmental prompts and customizing the tone of the message accordingly. A frequent business traveler might receive a message emphasizing the long-term global benefits of carbon neutrality, while a vacationing family could be reminded that offsetting helps protect the very natural wonders they plan to visit. The brilliance of this approach lies in its subtlety. It's not about forcing change, but about making sustainability feel natural, even satisfying. Beyond carbon offsets, AI-driven personalization extends to in-flight experiences as well. Some airlines are testing systems that provide passengers with sustainability insights during the journey itself, turning idle time in the cabin into moments of reflection and education. Imagine sitting by the window, watching the clouds drift by, as your personal screen gently tells you how much carbon has been saved because your flight used a SAF blend, or how many trees have been planted through your offset contribution. It's not just information, it's a story, a reminder that your journey is part of something larger than yourself. This human-centered storytelling is reshaping aviation's relationship with its customers. Airlines are no longer just transport providers. They are becoming educators, advocates, and collaborators in climate action. The psychology behind these personalized nudges is as sophisticated as the technology itself. Large language models, AI systems capable of understanding emotion, tone, and context, are trained to communicate sustainability in ways that resonate. They can craft messages that feel conversational, empathetic, even inspiring. Instead of cold statistics, passengers receive narratives about a rainforest in Brazil being preserved, a wind farm in Kenya generating clean energy, or a coral reef being protected through offset programs. It's a transformation from data to emotion, from numbers to meaning. That emotional connection is what drives change. When people feel personally linked to the outcome of their actions, they're far more likely to act sustainably again in the future. This is how behavioral science meets aviation. Governments and regulators are also recognizing the potential of digital nudging as a policy tool. Initiatives like the European Union's Green Deal emphasize not just technological change, but social transformation. Airlines are encouraged to use AI responsibly to inform and motivate passengers without manipulation or misinformation. Transparency is key. The traveler must understand what their money supports, where it goes, and how it contributes to measurable carbon reduction. This honesty builds trust, and trust in turn fuels participation. It's a virtuous cycle, and it begins with a simple human-centered approach. The evolution of carbon offset programs is another fascinating dimension of this story. In the early days, offsets were treated as an afterthought, something passengers could opt into at the end of a booking if they happened to notice it. Today, offsets are being reimagined as integral parts of the journey experience. Some airlines now automatically include a small offset in the ticket price and then offer passengers the option to increase it, creating a shared sense of responsibility. Others use AI to gamify sustainability, offering rewards, loyalty points, or digital badges for choosing greener options. It's a subtle but effective strategy, turning what was once an obligation into an achievement. These programs are supported by transparent digital platforms that track and verify offset projects in real time, using blockchain and satellite data to ensure authenticity. Passengers can see exactly how their contribution makes an impact, bringing a sense of tangibility to what was once an abstract promise. This personalization goes deeper still. As language models advance, they can tailor sustainability communication to individual cultures, languages, and emotional cues. A traveler from Japan might receive a message framed around collective harmony and responsibility, while someone from the United States might be inspired by innovation and leadership. AI doesn't just speak the passenger's language, it speaks to their values. That's the true power of personalization. It turns sustainability from a corporate initiative into a human story that resonates differently with each listener. Some might question whether these digital nudges are enough to make a real difference in aviation's vast carbon footprint. But every great change begins with awareness, and awareness spreads. A passenger who offsets once, guided by an AI prompt, may later choose airlines that prioritize SAF, advocate for greener policies, or simply become more conscious of their travel decisions. The ripple effect grows, one choice at a time. In this way, AI becomes not a replacement for human conscience, but a catalyst for it. The collaboration between human empathy and machine intelligence is perhaps one of the most profound developments in aviation history. It's not about automation, it's about amplification. The AI amplifies the human desire to do good, to protect what we cherish, to ensure that the miracle of flight doesn't come at the cost of the planet we depend on. As technology advances, the line between digital and emotional interaction continues to blur. Some airlines are exploring the idea of virtual sustainability assistants, AI-powered companions that engage passengers throughout their travel experience, offering insights, answering questions, and sharing stories about the airline's environmental initiatives. These companions could exist in mobile apps, chat interfaces, or even voice assistants at the airport. Over time, they could build long-term relationships with travelers, learning their habits and preferences, and encouraging increasingly meaningful forms of participation. The more passengers engage, the more sustainable aviation becomes, not just technologically, but culturally. This cultural shift is vital because no amount of innovation in fuels or aircraft can succeed without public support and understanding. Aviation's green transition must be both a technical and emotional journey. It's about redefining what it means to fly. For decades, the experience of air travel has been marketed around luxury, speed, and escape. Now airlines are learning to tell a new story, one about responsibility, connection, and stewardship. The dream of flight remains the same, but the meaning of that dream is changing. Passengers are no longer passive participants. They are becoming co-pilots in the mission to decarbonize the skies. This merging of human values and artificial intelligence doesn't come without ethical questions. How far should AI go in influencing behavior? Can a digital nudge cross the line into manipulation? These are valid concerns, and the industry is beginning to grapple with them. Ethical guidelines for AI and sustainability messaging are emerging, emphasizing transparency, choice, and respect for privacy. The goal is not to coerce, but to empower, to provide information and inspiration, not pressure. When done right, this human-AI collaboration represents one of the most hopeful paths toward collective environmental action. It transforms what could have been a cold, transactional interaction between a company and its customers into something deeply human, a shared purpose. Imagine a future flight where every seat screen shows not just entertainment, but a living dashboard of the airline's environmental progress. Passengers can see how much carbon was saved on that route, how many gallons of SAF were used, and what projects their offset supported. Children could explore interactive maps of reforestation sites, learning how their family's choice helped restore ecosystems. AI narrators could tell stories of transformation, making each journey not just a trip from one place to another, but a journey toward a better future. This is more than a possibility. It's already beginning. Startups are partnering with airlines to integrate storytelling-based sustainability platforms, merging education with engagement. The power of these systems lies in their ability to make invisible actions visible, to make the intangible impact of carbon reduction feel real and personal. At its heart, the human side of sustainable aviation is a story about awareness, empathy, and hope. The same human spirit that once looked up at the sky and dreamed of flying is now learning to protect that sky. And ironically, it's the machines. We've created AI systems, algorithms, digital minds that are helping us reconnect with our humanity. They remind us that every decision, no matter how small, matters. Every click to offset, Every choice to fly greener, every moment of reflection mid-air contributes to a larger collective movement. The story of aviation's transformation isn't just one of science and policy, it's one of people. Pilots, engineers, travelers, and now intelligent machines, all working together to preserve the beauty of flight. As the world faces an uncertain climate future, this collaboration offers something precious, a sense of agency. It tells us that we can still choose, still change, still make a difference. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most powerful innovation of all. As the engines roar and another jet rises into the fading sunset, the meaning of flight itself begins to change. It's no longer just about crossing distances or breaking records. It's about uniting science, conscience, and humanity in a shared mission to protect what gives us the gift of flight in the first place, our planet. The future of aviation will not be written in smoke trails or exhaust clouds, but in the quiet determination of people and technologies working together to heal the skies. And as we stand on the edge of that transformation, one truth becomes clear. The journey to sustainable aviation is not only about reaching new heights, but ensuring that the world beneath those wings remains worth flying for.